94.9 points a game, tops in the league. Johnson and Wales only allowing 61.1 points a game. They lead the league in defense. So I think, it's going to be a heck of a game here today, Ted.
Let's talk about the matchup in terms of looking at the two previous games. Both were one-possession games. So these two teams, very, very competitive.
Yeah, they have been. Both, like you said, both both games were one-possession games. The game that Albertus won here, they actually went 94 feet with under 3 seconds to go, and they hit a bomb three at the buzzer to win. So this will be a very competitive day today. Great atmosphere here today at Albertus. So really looking forward to a good one today.
All right, Adam, let's get your keys to victory. First, let's start for the home team, Albertus Magnus, and I just think it's incredible. They've got a 56-game home winning streak going, the longest in all of college basketball.
Absolutely, big-time win streak here. Some keys of the game, though. First of all, I think Albertus, they need to establish their post presence early. With Big Vic inside, they got to get him the ball and let him go to work a little bit. Secondly, they've got to rebound the basketball today. Johnson and Wales on paper may look a little bit undersized. They're actually not. They've got a lot of 6'3", 6'4" athletic guys who really rebound well. Albertus needs to rebound the basketball today. And the third one, they've got to do what they do. They've got to play fast. They've got to play loose. That's how they play when they're at their best.
All right, let's take a look at the keys to victory for the visiting team, Johnson and Wales of Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, absolutely. For Johnson and Wales, they got to do a bunch of things. First off, they've really got to slow down Albertus in transition here. Albertus wants to get the ball out of the basket quickly and go. They've got to slow them down. Secondly, Johnson and Wales really needs to defend the post. And by doing that, they've got to pressure the wings, make it difficult for Albertus to throw it into the post. And finally, we're going to talk about Garrick and Greenway. They've got two big-time players, Johnson and Wales, but they're going to need a big day out of either Lewis or Lawson today, one of their other starters. Someone's going to need to step up and have a big day to keep Johnson and Wales in this game today.
All right, Adam, Albertus Magnus will start. Lamar Larson, the 6'4" junior at one forward. Victor Lurai, the 6'8" senior, starts in the post. Tavon Sledge, leading scorer at better than 20 a game. The 5'9" senior will start at one guard. Ian Davis, the 6'1" senior, will start at the other guard. And the final wing will be Julian Sanders, the 6'1" senior. And the head coach is Mitch Oliver in his 8th season, 165-63. Johnson and Wales, they will go with 5 guards. Michael Kaiser, a 6'2" freshman from Pike Road, Alabama. Tom Garrick, the 6'4" junior from Seekonk, Mass., who averages just under 20 a game. Clayton Roker, a 6'3" junior from New City, New York, averages under 5 a game. The leading scorer is Corey Greenaway, the 6'3" junior from Archbishop Stepinac High School, Westchester, New York, at better than 20.1 points per game. And the other guard is Robert Lewis, the 6'1" junior from Trumbull, Connecticut, who averages 10.1 points per game. And the head coach, former Boston College star Jamie Benton, in his 11th season, 168 wins and 132 losses. Our officials today is signed by the Great Northeast Athletic Conference. The referee is Bruce Anderson, and the umpire Steve Kirk II and Joanne Williams. And we are ready for GNAC basketball at its best, the championship game of the Great Northeast Athletic Conference between the number 1 seed Albertus Magnus. The number 2 seed is Johnson and Wales here, New Haven, Connecticut. And we pause now to honor America for our national anthem. So pleased to bring you the championship game once again for the Great Northeast Athletic Conference. Ted Sarandis alongside Suffolk head coach Adam Nelson. And it's so great to have you along with us on d3hoops.com. Remember, for all the info you need on the great sport of college basketball at the Division III level, d3hoops.com. And Adam, last year, just a tremendously impressive effort from Albertus Magnus, and I know that you feel that this Johnson and Wales team really has an opportunity in this game, unlike St. Joseph's and Maine, which really was overmatched last year. You feel that this has a chance to be a really competitive game once again.
I do, Ted, and as we mentioned earlier, the last two times they've played, they've been one-possession games. And watch this game today. Johnson and Wales, they really defend. They're not going to make it easy for Albertus. They're going to pressure the ball. They're going to press you a little bit. Defensively, they're going to be in Albertus today.
It'll be Victor Lurai, the big fella, wearing number 1 for Albertus Magnus, dressed in white, and Tom Garrick, whose dad was a terrific player at the University of Rhode Island in the late 1980s, jumps for Johnson and Wales, and Albertus wins the tip. But a turnover right off the bat. And getting the roll is Robert Lewis for Johnson and Wales. They're up 2-0.
And here's what we talked about a little bit. Albertus gets the ball out of the rim so quickly. Even after a make, they were down the court in 2 or 3 seconds. Sledge may have rushed a shot here, but I think that's a great shot. That's a shot that Tavon makes. But again, I think one of the keys, like we said, Albertus needs to play like Albertus, and that's how they play. Make or miss, they're going to get it out and go, and they're dangerous when they do that.
And the foul on Robert Lewis, his first, and the first on the team, and the free throw is good by Lamar Larson, 6'4", 175-pound junior from Wilby High School, Waterbury, Connecticut, averages just under 12 points per contest. Good free throw shooter at just under 76%, and we're tied at 2, just underway here in New Haven, Connecticut. Dribble penetration and a whistle and a foul on the interior on Albertus Magnus.
And again, Ted, it's one of the things that we talked about and you mentioned earlier with Johnson and Wales really starting 5 guards. They do a very good job of beating you on the perimeter. They've got a lot of guys that are hard to guard. They want to attack the basket, get to the rim, and if you look at Albertus with Big Vic, who's 6'8", he's got some matchup problems out there. They've got Johnson Wales, a lot of guys that will attack the basket.
Indeed, foul on Lamar Larson for Albertus Magnus, first personal first on the team. Had a pair of free throws for the leading scorer for Johnson and Wales, Corey Greenaway, 20.1 points per game out of Westchester, New York, the 6'3" junior.
We talked about trying to establish that post presence early, and I think they're trying to. They've turned it over both times they've tried to throw it in there, though.
Dribble penetration, and the follow is good for Michael Kaiser, 6-2, the visitors from Rhode Island on top.
Again, trying to throw it in there again, and they turn it over. Wow.
Outstanding defense, Johnson and Wales. Transition.
Travel. He got it. Good
and
call.
A traveling violation, so the turnover gives possession back to Albertus Magnus. We have 18:49 remaining in this first half, 6-2. Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island in front. This is Ian Davis on the wing.
They're definitely making the effort to throw it in. They're looking for Larson inside, too. Good penetrating pitch there.
The three-pointer is good for Julian Sanders, and the Johnson and Wales lead cut to 1. Both teams man-to-man. The penetration, score the goal for Robert Lewis.
Yeah, and again, Ted, that's something else that we talked about in the pregame here. We said Albertus is going to need to rebound the ball a little bit. There's a offensive rebound that led to a basket there. They got to do a better job on the glass here. There's a triple team inside. That's a heck of a move.
And Lurai, outstanding footwork in the post.
Again, if they can throw it inside, Johnson and Wales will have a tough time guarding that. They sent 3 guys down there, triple team in the post, and he still was able to score.
Victor Lurai so dominant at this level. Contests a battle underneath. and score the goal.
Greenway works so hard in there. He's not just their leading scorer, he's their leading rebounder as well. He actually leads them in assists too, but he's a tough kid inside.
And we have a delay of game warning on Tom Garrick. The baseline official does not want the Johnson and Wales players touching the ball as it goes through the goal.
To be honest, Ted, that's what a lot of teams in our league, us included, try to do to slow Albertus down. That ball comes through the hoop. We, maybe hit it a little bit to slow him down. So they've ended that one early.
Here's Sledge with the jumper. He's the man to watch. Number 3 for Albertus Magnus. And it's a 1-point lead for Johnson and Wales, as we've played nearly 3 minutes here in New Haven, Connecticut. Greenaway is the man they want with the ball, missed in traffic. And the rebound is cleared by Lamar Larson.
Good decision there by Sledge to pull it out. Again, they want to play fast. If they don't have anything, it's a great decision. Pull it out, run some offense.
Larson working the interior, and the follow is good by Victor. So Victor tips it in, and it's the first lead of the game for Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, that advantage inside is really starting to present itself now. I think, he's starting to dominate inside a little bit.
Talk about this level, Adam. Fans are used to watching the Division I level. Not an awful lot of size at this Division III level.
No, you know what? There's not. But you know what? There's a lot of guys that are, 6'3", 6'4", long and athletic. So he traveled on that one.
Acrobatic dunk by Lamar Larson, but no basket, a traveling violation.
Yeah, so Ted, where you might not see the big, dominant 6'10", 6'11 posts, you're going to see a bunch of 6'4" athletic wings who can play above the rim. So it's a little different, but you definitely got some guys that play above the rim at this level.
And we'll take a timeout. 16-12 to play in our first half. It's Albertus Magnus 11 and Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 10. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. We're back. GNAC Championship game. Albertus Magnus College, New Haven, Connecticut. And Albertus Magnus clinging to a 1-point lead. Johnson and Wales possession. Shot clock approaches 10. Greenaway lost the ball. And here comes Albertus Magnus. Sledge dribble penetrates, draws the foul.
Yeah, we haven't talked enough about Tavon Sledge today, but Sledge is a heck of a player at this level. He's a senior, his first year here at Albertus. Spent a year at Iowa State, transferred to Iona, played on an NCAA tournament team at Iona, and he's here now having a great year.
Foul on Roker, first personal, second on the team. Lob pass, and Victor couldn't convert. Michael Kaiser cleared the rebound for Johnson and Wales. Garrick penetrates, draws the foul. It's on Tavon Sledge. Always the toughest call in the sport, the charge block.
Yeah, that's a tough one there, and I know the officials this year have been making a big emphasis of impeding progress, and that might have been one of those calls there.
Both head coaches with Division I experience. The head coach at Albertus Magnus, Mitch Oliver, had assisted at Sacred Heart and at Quinnipiac. And Jamie Benton, a fine player at Boston College. The tip-in is good by Lamar Larson, and Albertus Magnus leads by 3 as we approach 15 minutes remaining in this first half.
And that's what Albertus does so well. They attack the rim, missed a layup, but they've still got guys running back into the play, running to the rim. That's what you want to do. You want to run to the rim, try to tip the ball in. That's a great job there.
Both teams man-to-man. No zone defense by these two clubs. Victor with the rebound, and Here's Ian Davis to the goal, score it.
Great finish by Davis.
Albertus Magnus by 5.
That's what we talked about in the opening too a little bit though, Ted. You know, Johnson and Wales needs to get other guys involved here. You know, Greenway's been trying to force it here a little bit. Garrick hasn't gotten involved yet. They've got to get some guys to step up here. You know, Jarrell Lawson's checked into the game now.
And Greenway called for the push-off, trying to post up.
Yeah, again, as we just said, he's trying to force the action a little bit here. They need to move the ball, get some better shots here before this goes south too quickly.
First personal, third on the team, and you're right. This Albertus Magnus team so explosive, scoring points in bunches.
They do. That's what devastates you a little bit. They get on runs that go quick, and here we go.
Victor with the slam dunk off the nice feed. And Albertus Magnus stretches it to 7.
Yeah, Johnson and Wales really needs a score here. Struggling a little bit. They got to move the ball here, get a great shot. They haven't gotten very good shots.
Garrick off balance. That's not the shot they wanted, but the rebound is grabbed there by Greenaway, and he draws the foul. The foul will be on Ian Davis.
Yeah, and again, I think Albertus did a nice job. Johnson and Wales takes a, questionable shot. Maybe they got to clean that up though. They got to grab that rebound. If they rebound that ball, they go the other way. They start pushing this out. Instead they're not able to grab the rebound. They foul Greenway again and put him on the line. This is where Greenway does a good job. He does a real good job from the line, gets there a lot because he's so active, he's so physical.
Greenway at just under 79% at the charity stripe. The foul was on Ian Davis, first personal. Each team with 3 team fouls, 13 minutes, 52 seconds remain in our first half, and Greenaway makes a pair. And we have a whistle and a timeout. We'll take it. Our score is Albertus Magnus 17, Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 12. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Back to the action, GNAC Championship game. A little bit of a premature start. Albertus Magnus 7 of 11 from the floor. Johnson and Wales just 4 of 12. 2 assists, 4 turnovers for Albertus Magnus. No assists, 3 turnovers for Johnson and Wales. Points in the paint, Albertus Magnus has scored 10 of their 17 points, Adam, in the lane.
Yeah, exactly, and that was kind of one of our keys, right? Get it inside, try to take advantage of the size inside for Albertus. They've done a nice job so far of doing that.
Corey Greenaway now, his second personal foul. That's something to watch.
Yeah, you don't want to get him in foul trouble early.
Here's Ian Davis on the ball for the white-clad Albertus Magnus Falcons. Turnover. Garrick to the goal. Rejection. The follow is good. Score the goal and a foul. Michael Kaiser with the putback, and the foul will go on Albertus Magnus, Julian Sanders.
Watch this replay. First of all, great defensive play here by Ian Davis to get back in the play and tip the ball out. Just not able to get bodies back there to rebound the ball, which is too bad. But what a job by Ian Davis, not quitting on a play. Plays ahead of him. He ran back and was able to tip that ball. Great job there. Too bad they couldn't collect that rebound, though.
You talk to me yesterday on the phone about how impressive this Johnson and Wales team is, undersized, attacking the glass. I'm amazed at how good an offensive rebounding team they are.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like we said, they've got a lot of guys that are similar, long and athletic, and they get after it on the glass.
And the quick push here, Roker able to draw the foul.
Oh, that's a tough call from where we're standing. Looking like a jump ball to me. Tough call from up here, but look at the replay here. It looks like he's got his hand on top of the ball. Hey, we're not down on the court. What can you say?
Ian Davis called for the personal foul. That's his second and the fourth on the team, so he has 2. And Corey Greenaway has 2 personal fouls for Johnson and Wales. First substitution for Albertus Magnus. Mark Wilson into the game, a 6'2", 190-pound junior guard from Hudson Catholic High School, Jersey City, New Jersey. Athletic defender, averages just 2.1 points per game.
Yeah, that last foul, Ted, too, they called it on the floor, which I'm surprised about. I thought he was going up, looked like a jump ball. I don't know, but very veteran crew today, very veteran crew. Bruce Anderson under the basket does a great job, so we'll believe him.
Johnson and Wales will take the break, but they couldn't capitalize, and Big Victor rebounds for Albertus Magnus. Penetration, Sledge. And they turn it over again.
Yeah, not a good turnover there.
And turnovers now starting to become a factor for both teams, as both teams looking to try to push the pace.
Getting sloppy. You see, I think that's a pretty good call there. He was set, was able to take the charge there. But like you said, turnovers now, this game's getting a little bit ugly. Nice little run by Johnson and Wales here. They were down 17-10, 4-0 run to get back in the game here a little bit. You'd like to see them get a stop and score a little bit.
Robert Lewis back in the game, wears number 22 for Johnson and Wales, replaces Clayton Roker. Under 12.5 to play in the first. It's 17-14. The Falcons of Albertus Magnus with the lead. Taking it strong to the goal is Mark Wilson.
Right back at you.
And another charge. So we've seen an exchange of charging fouls.
Yeah, we'll see it here, and I'll tell you what, I think this is a real good call too, and it's a great job by the officials actually. They're consistent, consistent calls. Both charges, I think they're both good calls, so give these officials some credit today too.
Wilson, first personal, 6th on the team, has the circle underneath the goal helped the game with charge block, Adam?
It has a little bit. It gives really the defenders kind of a place to, a visual place to look at and kind of figure out where to set up. So I think it's helps the officials too, let a lot of guesswork out of the game.
The big fella takes the shot from out deep. Victor couldn't connect, and here comes Corey Greenaway. All the way to the goal, couldn't connect. Had a foul of the rebound action on Albertus Magnus. So Albertus unable to stretch the lead, and we've seen Johnson and Wales really able to hang in there.
Yeah, they're kind of letting Johnson and Wales back in it. And what's happening, Johnson and Wales has been struggling in the half court, but because Albertus is starting to turn it over here a little bit, miss some shots, Johnson and Wales is getting out in transition and doing a really nice job in transition. Albertus can slow them down a little bit and play them in a half court game, they're going to be okay. But if this thing starts going up and down, if they start or keep turning the ball over, keep taking quick shots, they might be in a little bit of trouble here.
Albertus Magnus foul on 22, Julian Sanders, who goes to the bench. That's the 7th team foul on the home standing Falcons. First free throw is up and in for Michael Kaiser, who struggles at the line, just 40%. And here is Johnson and Wales maintaining contact since the last timeout. Kaiser will go again. 7 team fouls on the Albertus Magnus Falcons, 5 on Johnson and Wales. Second one is good, so Kaiser, not a good free throw shooter, makes a pair. And it's a 1-point game with under 12 minutes to play in the first half.
Yeah, 2 big free throws at this point in the game for a guy shooting 40% from the line. Give him a lot of credit there. Got a mismatch inside there.
And Victor gets the roll on the interior.
Yeah, great take. They really took advantage of that mismatch. I mean, it's hard to guard him with single coverage down there. You see that, you got to throw it in and let him go to work.
2 players in off the bench for Albertus Magnus. Jaquan Walters wears number 34, and Chauncey Dunbar wears number 24.
Again, because Albertus was able to score, they get Johnson and Wales in the half court. They're able to get a stop.
Sledge lost the ball off his foot. So far, Johnson and Wales, I think, has done a pretty effective job on Tavon Sledge.
Oh, they really have. He's had a couple, not very good turnovers here lately. Johnson and Wales give him a lot of credit, doing a real good job here.
Victor has hurt them on the interior.
But they've done a nice job guarding him in transition. So that's a great
And
steal.
Victor comes up with the steal. Score the goal for Victor at 21-16, and he's been the best player on the floor. He's got 10 of the 21 Albertus Magnus points.
Yeah, there's times they make it look so easy. You know, just converted a 2-on-1, made it look easy.
So many weapons. They've done the good job on the best player on the wing, but Victor has hurt them on the interior, and it'll be Johnson and Wales possession with 32 seconds in the shot clock. Substitution, Corey Greenaway comes back in. He replaces Robert Lewis. 10:32 remaining. Good to have you with us for this championship game of the GNAC Conference Tournament here in New Haven, Connecticut. Ted Sarandis alongside Adam Nelson on D3Hoops.com. Greenaway tries to make a play, and he's called for charging. So we've had 5 charging calls here in this first half, and Greenaway called for the push-off foul.
Yeah, and again, you know what, Ted, as a coach, you just want to see consistency. Yeah, it's a pretty good call. I think he may have extended that forearm a little bit. I think that's probably the right call.
More importantly, Adam, that's 3 personal fouls on Greenaway, and he is going to have to sit.
Yeah, that's a bad hit. With 10 minutes going in this half to have 3 fouls, that's not good for them. Again, leading scorer, leading rebounder, leads them in assist. To have him on the bench now for a while, he's got to be there for a while. That's a bad hit.
Looking to make a play is Jaquan Walters. His first field goal has 2, and Albertus Magnus a 7-point advantage.
That's a great take by Walters. I love this kid. Young kid, long, athletic. He's going to have a heck of a career here at Albertus.
The action heavy on the interior, and down court to Von Sledge. Lob pass for Victor. Does a terrific job to catch it. Now attacking the goal and score the goal for Mark Wilson, who's given them a lift off the bench.
Yeah, he has. Again, this is what they do. They attack the basket. They push the pace of play. They're getting great shots now.
Biggest lead for the Albertus Magnus Falcons at 9 with under 10 to play here in the first. Here's Garrick.
Yeah, tough shot by Garrick. Really trying to force the action. He knows. He's the leading scorer on the court right now. He knows his team needs to score. He's a veteran. He's trying to do it all, but they've got to run some better half-court offense again if they don't want to get this thing to get too far away from them. This is a critical time here.
Victor almost lost it. Got it back out deep. And it'll be Albertus Magnus possession with 15 seconds on the shot clock. 9 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in this first half, and Albertus Magnus a 9-point advantage.
Johnson and Wales could really, really use a stop here. Need a stop and a score. Like you said, maintain contact. Don't let this thing get too far away from you at this point.
Wilson will throw in. And now Von Sledge.
Coming off the high ball screen.
Pulls up and hits. Von Sledge with the triple. And the biggest lead of 12 and a timeout for head coach Jamie Benton. We'll take it. 8 minutes, 51 seconds remaining in this first half. Our score is Albertus Magnus 28, Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 16. We're back with more after this. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Minutes, 51 seconds remaining in this first half. Our score is Albertus Magnus 28, Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 16. Ted Sarandis alongside the coach, Adam Nelson. And Adam, really, I think a very strong defensive effort by Johnson and Wales on the perimeter, but Victor has really hurt them on the interior. He has 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks and a steal, and he's clearly been the best player on the floor.
Yeah, he's doing a real good job inside. And I tell you what, you give Coach Oliver and his team credit. They're trying to get him the ball inside. He's taking advantage of it.
Key possession here for Johnson and Wales, down by 12. To the goal, off the glass, and good for Frank Robinson. Averages just 3.5 points per game. The 6'5 senior swingman from Providence, Rhode Island.
Yeah, he's a veteran. That's a veteran play. They needed that out of him.
The lead at 10.
Looking
Victor with the catch. Lost it. Good defense. Wilson can't connect. And here comes Frank Robinson for Johnson and Wales. Garrick with the long 3. He hits. Garrick drains the triple from the left corner, and it's a 7-point advantage for Albertus Magnus.
And that's exactly what you want if you're Johnson and Wales. You get a stop, and then you go. You want to play this game in transition. Again, we've seen it all day. They've struggled in half court. But get them out in transition, and good things are happening.
Jumper is good by Devon Sledge.
Yeah, he's starting to feel it a little bit right now. Not the guy you want to get hot if you're Johnson and Wales.
A 9-point lead for Albertus Magnus. Sledge with 7 points. And good defense on the interior. Chauncey Dunbar for Albertus Magnus with the steal. Dunbar will take the long 3. Deep rebound, Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, they got to go. They got to keep pushing this action. Don't want to get stuck in the half court here.
The bench has helped Albertus Magnus. They've gotten some good productivity from people like Mark Wilson, and Chauncey Dunbar has been involved as well. Now Lamar Larson back in the game. He replaces Jacron Walters. 7:20 remaining in this first half. It's 30-21. Albertus Magnus in front.
You got Greenway back in the game now with 3 fouls.
Coach Benton obviously feels this is a critical period of the game. Down by 9. Foul on the interior on Victor for Albertus Magnus.
Take a look at the replay here. That's one of those tough ones. When we tell our guys, you got to remain straight up. And, you see his arms came down just a little bit. And I think, officials at this level, they're going to call it, whether it's contact or not. If you're not straight up, that's going to be a foul. I know Victor's unhappy about it right now, but, he's, played 27 games this year. It's been a foul all year.
Yadia Letellier at the line, a 6'4 junior forward from Monroe College and Glen Cove, New York. Energy guy, averages less than 2 points and a little over 2 rebounds per game.
Pretty good substitution here, by the way. Greenway's coming out of the game, so he'll be out for a defensive possession here. Not a bad idea. Get him in for as many offensive possessions as you can. Try to hide him a little bit with those 3 fouls here in the first half. Second
free throw is good, and what is Mitch Oliver talking to the baseline official about?
I'm not sure what's going on here. Jamie Benton's got an issue at the table, too. I think not 100% sure what's going on here.
Thought it might be a timing issue, but no. 7 minutes and 6 seconds remaining in this first half. Albertus Magnus with a 30-22 advantage. And Sledge will walk it up after conferring with Lamar Larson. Now Larson has it out deep.
We're going to see a little bit of zone here from Johnson and Wales.
Sledge with the long 3 from the wing. And here comes Tom Garrick. Score the goal for Robert Lewis, who's played well off the bench for Johnson and Wales, and it's a 6-point game and a timeout. 6 minutes, 41 seconds to play in our first half. It's Albertus Magnus 30 and Johnson and Wales 24. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. back to the action, 30-24. Albertus Magnus with the lead and the basketball. Albertus Magnus shooting 12 of 18 from the floor. Johnson and Wales just 5 of 23. Turnover, and here comes Johnson and Wales. And the 7th, make it the 9th team foul on Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, Ted, it's the 9th turnover here on Albertus. 9 turnovers in, 15 minutes of action here. That's hurting them a little bit.
No question about it. The margin is less than double digits. And Albertus Magnus averaging nearly 95 points per game, leading the GNAC, 3rd in the country in Division III. The Johnson and Wales WIldcats rank 1st in the GNAC in points allowed at just over 61, and they have been able to force Albertus Magnus to turn the basketball over, which has allowed them to maintain contact here. And a pair of free throws by Robert Lewis, who's played well for Johnson and Wales. It's just a 4-point lead.
Yep. Now, a little full court pressure right there caused that turnover.
They turn it over again. Score the goal.
Great take by Lawson.
For Lawson, and Johnson and Wales on a bit of a run.
Here we go with the pressure again. Little 3-quarter court. They'll trap you if you get over here.
They've cut a 12-point lead down to 2. So they have not folded. Larson penetrates and draws the foul. Looks like he's shaken up a little bit.
Yeah, he got hit pretty hard there. Looks like he landed on his head. Here we got a replay here. It's a great take here. Great ball fake, goes hard to the basket. It gets hit a little bit as he goes by, but goes down hard.
The foul on Tom Garrick, that's his first, and the 7th on the team, with 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in this first half, and Larson still shaken up. Larson, the 6'4", 175-pound junior from Wilby High School in Waterbury, Connecticut, averages just under 12 points per game. In his last contest Thursday night, their big victory over St. Joseph's of Maine in the semifinals, he was involved in the game, had 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal in just 15 minutes of work. He got in foul trouble last game. It looks like Larson is getting his contact lens adjusted perhaps by
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. It's one of those things too, especially these days with concussions, the discussion about concussions. Anytime someone gets hit in the head, they definitely come out and get some attention. Yeah, I'm not sure. Ted, like you said, contact issue. Does he have a little blood? Is it a head injury? I don't know. It looks like they're going to have to take him out of the game. I'm not sure here.
Officials are very, very focused on head injuries.
Absolutely, absolutely, and as they should be. And I think all the studies out there have shown the danger of head injuries and concussions, and definitely not a bad thing to be cautious. And
you appear to be right, Adam. It looks like Marcus Walker wears number 23. He's a 6'6", 210-pound senior front court player from Newark Tech and Newark, New Jersey. He averages 2.2 points, 2.4 rebounds on this deep, talented Albertus Magnus College Falcons squad. And Walker will check in. And now Jamie Benton, I think, is inquiring about the delay. And we have 5:50 remaining in this first half. Albertus Magnus just a 2-point lead. They led by as many as 12, but they're up 30-28.
Yeah, so here's what's going to happen here. Because Larson had to leave the game with an injury, Jamie Benton, the opposing coach, gets to choose who he wants to shoot these free throws. So it looks like he's picked, is this Wilson here? Looks like he's picked Mark Wilson to shoot the free throws.
And Wilson is just a 50% free throw shooter. That's in the rule book. Player is injured. The opposing coach gets to select who he wants to shoot free throws, and Wilson, not a great free throw shooter, but makes that one.
Yeah, good job by Wilson. You're that guy that gets chosen by the other coach to go shoot the free throws. Good job to go and make that first one.
Albertus Magnus led by as many as 12. Wilson makes a pair to give them a 4-point advantage.
Well done. 2 big free throws at a big time for Wilson. Good job by him stepping up and making those.
Under 6 minutes to play in this first half, and Johnson and Wales looking to attack the man-to-man defense. Have not really been able to get anything going in the post. Garrick's shot is blocked by Victor.
Yeah, and, you know, Victor leads the nation in block shots, so that's, you know, not unexpected. And again, Johnson and Wales struggles in the half-court continue here a little bit.
Sledge looking to make a play, draws the foul with dribble penetration.
Yeah, he's so hard to guard. What a take. He's so explosive. That step from the elbow in was just quick. Look at how quick. Look at the explosive, how he gets there, how he hangs in the air. Just a great job by Sledge to get there. Again, he's so athletic for his size. Only about 5'8", but he dunks the ball so well. He hangs in the air. He gets to the rim. That's just a great job getting there.
The foul on Yadier Letelier of Johnson and Wales is Sledge. Very good free throw shooter at better than 75%, makes the first. A Division I athlete, Division I player here at the Division III level, began his career at Iowa State. He does not get the friendly roll on the second one, so it's a 5-point Albertus Magnus advantage as we approach 5 minutes remaining in this first half.
Ooh.
Score the goal off penetration and a foul, and again, an impressive take to the basket by Jarrell Lawson.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you watch here, it's a great backdoor cut, but look at Robert Lewis finding him with the pass. You know, great bounce pass on the cut. Tell you what, great finish by Lawson to bring it up and under.
So again, Johnson and Wales showing resiliency here.
And these are the guys that need to play well. Like I said, Lewis and Lawson really need to step up and play well here, especially with Greenway on the bench, especially with Garrick struggling a little bit here. We have a little pressure again from Johnson and Wales here. Again, this is what they do. You don't want to bring it in those corners because they will trap you.
Lawson has 5 points, and the lead again cut to 2. Sledge looking to make a play, pulls up, and gets the shooter's roll. Sledge gets the shooter's roll, and Albertus Magnus by 4.
Yeah, again, you know what? Big Vic was going off a little bit here early. Now Tavon Sledge is starting to heat up a little bit. Again, that's how hard they are to guard. You know, you got to pick your poison here a little bit. They have so many weapons.
Letelier gets the shooter's roll on his jumper.
Travel. Should be a travel.
Traveling violation.
Good call.
On the perimeter.
And it's another turnover for Albertus. It's got to be 11 or 12 here now. And you know, too many at this point. Again, Johnson and Wales here now with a chance to tie the game.
Turnovers forced by a very strong perimeter defensive effort by the Johnson and Wales Wildcats. Long three from the wing is overshot, and the lead down court to the goal. Lay it up, no. Julian Sanders unable to connect. A long three from the right side is no good by Johnson and Wales, and possession on the baseline out of bounds. It'll be Albertus Magnus ball, clinging to a tenuous 2-point advantage, and here comes Lamar Larson.
Yeah,
and he replaces Marcus Walker. They really need Larson.
They do, and you know, a couple quick threes here, you know, by Johnson and Wales. Lead, you know, you get some transition here, tough miss there, contested layup, but you know, if you're Albertus, this is almost what you want Johnson and Wales to do. Take some quick shots so you can get out in transition.
They've also gone away from getting the ball to Victor in the lane, and now he creates his own shot and a chance for a 3-point play.
And that's what, you know, Albertus has to do. You know, we saw early on, that's a great take by Vic right there. Early on, they were really making the effort to get him the ball. They've gone away from that a little bit now, and he created his own there, but I don't think they can get away from, you know, at least trying to look in on every possession.
Second personal foul on Tom Garrick, 9th on the team with 3:38 to play in the first. And Victor will go to the line. Not great at the line, just under 63%, but he connects at the charity stripe, has 13 points to lead all scorers. And Albertus Magnus by 5 with 3.5 remaining in this first half. Garrick looks to make a play. Nice move, couldn't connect, stays with it. And it'll be Johnson and Wales basketball on the baseline with a fresh 35. Garrick's dad, just a terrific player for the University of Rhode Island, leading the Rams to the Sweet 16 of the Division I NCAA tournament back in 1988. His dad is now an assistant women's coach at Vanderbilt University. Again, dribble penetration, score it in a foul. Jarrell Lawson draws the foul on Julian Sanders. Very, very impressive take.
Yeah, it's a good take here by Lawson. And again, that, it's what they need with Greenway on the bench, with Garrick struggling to get his offense going here a little bit. Nice for Lawson to be able to step up here. You know what? Lawson's a good player. He's a lefty. He's got a really silky, smooth shot, 6'5", long, athletic. If he can be able to get going here a little bit, he's going to keep Johnson and Wales in the game.
An 80% free throw shooter, and making his first appearance into the game for Albertus Magnus is Lex Perez. Has played 20 games, but only a total of 68 minutes. So what's the head coach Mitch Oliver trying to do here with Perez?
I'll tell you what, Perez is a shooter. Perez is a knockdown shooter. I think he's in here to make some shots. And interesting here for Johnson and Wales now, you've got both Garrick and Greenway on the bench. And you don't see this much at all. So we'll see how they do here.
The lead at 2 after the made free throw. Larson to the goal, puts it up and in.
That's a great take. That's a senior. That's a big, strong veteran just bowling his way in there. Great take.
But Johnson and Wales, by virtue of their ability to force turnovers, is hanging in. A wild shot on that possession. And here comes Tavon Sledge. Pulls up and hits. Tavon Sledge gives the homestanding Falcons a 6-point advantage as we approach 2.5 remaining in this first half.
Sledge hasn't missed in a while here. He's really starting to feel it.
Deliberate possession for Johnson and Wales. Roker has the ball. Where's number 4? Now the long 3 is not a good shot.
Not the shot you want if you're Johnson and Wales there.
Frank Robinson forced it from out deep. It's an air ball. Albertus Magnus looking to build on a 6-point advantage.
Yeah, they're going to trying to look to throw it in this possession, I think.
They've gone away from Victor in the post. What's interesting is Johnson and Wales opts not double team him. Sledge will pull up and draw a foul out deep. And that's the 10th team foul on Johnson and Wales. So a 2-shot opportunity. The foul will go on Clayton Roker with 1:44 remaining in this first half. We want to invite you to please interact with us via Twitter at hashtag the GNAC and hashtag D3Hoops. So please interact with us. Let us know where you are, the furthest distance from New Haven, Connecticut that you're watching our webcast. Again, it's hashtag the GNAC, hashtag D3H. Sledge makes a pair, and Sledge has a total of 14 points. Now Greenaway back in the game. And Victor clears. Just a dominant rebounder at this level. He averages a double-double. Shot clock at 15. Sledge looking to make a play. Pulls up. Victor with the offensive rebound.
Great offensive rebound. Great job here by Tavon Sledge getting them reset. He knows it's an important possession. Great job to get reset after that big offensive rebound.
We're under a minute to play in the first half. Albertus Magnus with possession and an 8-point lead. Sledge somehow slips underneath and puts it in.
Yeah, rare disconnect there by Johnson and Wales. Don't see that often defensively. Such a good defensive team, and just a little miscommunication there and lost Sledge. Tough guy to lose. He's got 16 now. Tough to lose him.
Greenaway will look to work against the inexperienced Perez. His take is good. So Greenaway connects off penetration. Excuse me, that was Robert Lewis. .15 seconds left in the first half.
Yeah, if you're Alberta, it's definitely going to hold it for the last shot here. Worst case, you go up 8 at the half. Maybe you make something go up more.
Sledge can't convert.
Wow.
0.3 of a second left, and
Couple tough no calls there at the end, Ted.
it will be Johnson and Wales ball with 0.3 of a second remaining in this first half. Corey Greenaway on the bench for about the last 9 minutes. The long heave is no good, and let's see. It will be the end of the first half of play. Now, head coach Jamie Benton talking with the official to our left. But that's the end of the first half of play. Adam, thoughts on that first half?
You know, really, I think a good first half, you know, fast-paced game. I think the two things that stand out, obviously, you know, Johnson and Wales struggled in the half court. But I think what helped them is they turned Albertus over so many times. You know, the turnovers lead to transition. Transition leads to easy points. So I think that's really, you know, Albertus' turnovers caused by Johnson Wales' good defense is really what's keeping this game close.
At halftime, our score is Albertus Magnus 46, Johnson and Wales 38. We're back with our halftime program in a moment. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com.
I'll let you work on that. Let me just work on it. Plug it out for a second.
Yeah, but ask him if it talk to him first.
Frank, mind if I plug the mic out so I can just connect it? Is this it right here?
At halftime, our score is Albertus Magnus 46, Johnson and Wales 38. We're so pleased to have the president at Albertus Magnus College, Dr. Julie McNamara, with us. And let's get your thoughts, first of all, on another really exciting first half by your men's basketball team, really playing terrific basketball.
They've done a great job this year. It's been a great season, and we're very proud of them. We're also very proud of the fact, Ted, that they do very well in their academic programs as well. So that for us is key. But this is so exciting for the school, so exciting for Frankie Falcon, who's our mascot down there on the court. And it's just a great afternoon.
Let's just talk about
Johnson and Wales is a great team.
They really are playing extremely well. Yeah. Talk to us about this college here in New Haven, Connecticut. You don't have a huge undergraduate enrollment, but just talk about the school and what you have to offer. And what about graduate programs too? Is there a graduate program here?
Yes, we have 10 master's degree programs here at the college, and everything ranging from art therapy, the only master's degree program in art therapy in the state of Connecticut. We also have a master's in accounting, in criminal justice, in academic liberal arts and sciences. So there's a great play for the academic programs here. We also have a very large evening adult program here at the college. And this year we're celebrating our 90th anniversary as an academic institution. So the people who founded the college back in 1925 founded a women's college. The Dominican Sisters founded this women's college. And then back in 1985 we went co-ed, which was a great shock to the alumni. But as you can see from this afternoon's performance of our men's basketball teams and all of our teams, we've really done very well with athletics.
And let's talk about your athletic program. I think you've got one of the gems. As somebody who's covered college athletics for over 30 years, I think Jim Abramatis is one of the best athletic directors in the country. He certainly is talented enough, if he wanted to go to the Division I level. And with your leadership and his leadership, you've established a terrific program here at the Division III level. So I salute you guys.
Thank you so much, Ted. Jim is admired by the students here and by the faculty because of his commitment to understanding that athletics comes second to academics in the programs here. But there is this sense of camaraderie between the faculty and the athletic department at this point because of Jim. Jim has been extraordinary.
Talk to us about the prospective student athletes now. What sort of message would you give to them if they're looking for an opportunity for a college education and perhaps thinking about coming to New Haven and Albertus Magnus?
I think we offer a tremendous academic community here. We have a very great social life on this campus, and we also have wonderful athletic programs. Students who are interested in both athletics and academics will do very, very well here. And we support our athletes. We want students to do well in every single endeavor that they enter into here at the college.
And I want to give you an opportunity to direct folks to your academic website and give you a chance to kind of push and sell what a terrific college this is.
You know, one of the things that we say about the college to all of our students is this. We say we have faith in your future because we believe that students who come here will get the best possible academic program, they will get great athletics and sports programs, and great student activities programs. There's a spirit here that really pushes students forward and enables them to really understand what the academic life is like in a college, but it also gives them the opportunity for a great social life and the possibility of joining our master's degree programs as well. If anybody is interested in criminal justice or accounting or academic programs that really are practical in their application, Albertus is the place for you.
Appreciate you hosting us here today.
Thanks
it's great to be on campus.
It's a pleasure to have you here, Ted.
All right, happy to be here.
Thanks for all that you do for academics and athletics.
Well, you're awfully kind. That's Albertus Magnus College President Dr. Julie McNamara. We're back with more after this. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Second half action underway. Johnson and Wales with possession.
Oh, wow.
The follow is good on the interior is Robert Lewis.
I'll tell you what, that's a, good job by Johnson and Wales trying to get Greenway involved early there. He's got 3 fouls. It looked like that's a tough no call there. Wow. Good start for Johnson and Wales, though.
6-point advantage for Albertus Magnus. They managed to maintain possession. Lob pass, Victor, and he sends it in. Victor converts the lob pass, an 8-point advantage, Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, great look by Sledge.
Greenaway trying to make a play, draws a holding foul on the interior. And Adam, let's take a quick look at the halftime statistics. I'm impressed that it was less than a double-digit advantage as Larson commits the foul. Johnson and Wales shot under 35%, but they forced 12 Albertus Magnus turnovers, and they scored 10 points off those turnovers.
Yeah, and especially with Greenway on the bench for most of that half. Pretty impressive they stuck with him. Great take by Ian Davis there.
Davis, just 4 points. Tavon Sledge, 16 points in the first half. And Victor with 13 points and 9 rebounds. An 8-point advantage at 50-42 for Albertus Magnus as Sledge pulls up. Victor with the rebound, draws a foul on the interior, and a double-double already for Victor as the foul on Clayton Roker. That's 3 personal fouls on Clayton Roker.
Yeah, I think we're going to look here at the replay, the alley-oop to Big Vic. Great pass by Sledge. Victor finds himself standing there all alone, and great court vision by Sledge there to find him.
Victor averaging nearly 19 points a game, nearly 11 rebounds per contest, and 115 blocks. And he connects there to give the homestanding Albertus Magnus Falcons a 10-point advantage. Here's Garrick looking to make a play. To the goal, couldn't get the roll. Nice move, couldn't finish.
Garrick really struggling to get anything going today. Great take, couldn't finish.
Sledge attacks the goal. And a 12-point advantage, Albertus Magnus.
You really see Sledge's athleticism come out there. 5'8", just finished at the rim. Strong, powerful, great take there by Sledge.
18 points for Sledge.
Oh, he's going to dunk this one.
The steal by Sledge. And he sends it in with authority. Crowd roaring here at Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, that's what Albertus does so well. They get out in transition. They're going to dunk it. They're going to get this crowd going. That's what they've done.
And head coach Jamie Benton wants to talk it over. Timeout with 17 minutes, 34 seconds remaining in the ball game. Our score, Albertus Magnus 56, Johnson and Wales 42. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. "17 minutes, 34 seconds remaining in the ball game. Ted Sarandis alongside the coach Adam Nelson, 56-42. Biggest lead of the game for the homestanding Falcons of Albertus Magnus over Johnson and Wales.
good timeout there by Jamie Benton. Get his troops settled a little bit. Run some good offense here, get a score.
And Garrick answers with a big three-point goal.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and that's what Garrick does. He hasn't gotten going today, but that's what he does. He really shoots it well. I think we're getting another warning here for tipping it. Each team's been warned now to leave the ball alone after it goes through the basket.
Garrick just 2 out of 10 from the floor, has 6 points.
Back to pressure here for Johnson and Wales. This is what they do. I think they do this really well. Some full court pressure. They'll run and jump you a little bit. They'll trap you.
And a steal. Garrick for 3. He hits. Garrick back-to-back threes, and suddenly it's down to an 8-point lead. But Victor right back attacks the goal for Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, 3 dunks for Albertus in the first 3 minutes of the second half here. This place is starting to come alive a little bit.
Victor with 19. A foul from three-point range, and Lawson will shoot 3 free throws. The foul on Julian Sanders of Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those deadly sins in basketball. You never want to foul a three-point shooter. Just get a hand and contest. Tough foul there, especially, don't want to foul that three-point shooter.
Need these free throws here, and again, it's a tribute to how well Johnson and Wales has been able to play defensively, forcing turnovers, because their 2 main guys, Corey Greenaway and Tom Garrick, have not had terrific games offensively. Greenaway sat out most of the first half because of foul trouble, and now a substitution checking in is Mike Clark, wears number 21 for Johnson and Wales, a 5'7" freshman from LaSalle Academy, Providence, Rhode Island, averages a bit over 3 points per game. So what will Clark look to bring here off the bench?
He's an energy guy, and especially as they start pressuring now. Good press guy again. He's one of the calls that turnover there. There we go. So again, what Johnson and Wales does well. Now they're up in him. You see Davis here getting frustrated, pushing off on Clark, about to get called for a foul.
And Davis called for a foul. You called that one right on target.
Actually, who did they call this one on? I think they called it on Clark.
Wow.
Wow, yeah, getting a little chippy here.
And now
Sledge and Clark pushing.
And
wow.
Sledge exchange a couple of shoves.
I'll tell you what, and it's what we tell our guys, though. They always get the second guy. Davis started this by pushing a little bit, and the official didn't see that, but he got Clark when Clark was the second guy to shove. And that's, it always happens that way. But Davis was definitely the aggressor there. Clark gets called for the foul, though.
And credit Mitch Oliver, the head coach of Albertus Magnus, out on the floor to get his guys away from that situation. And we have a timeout. We'll take it with 16 minutes, 33 seconds to play in the game. It's Albertus Magnus 58, Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 52. You're watching the GNAC championship game on D3Hoops.com. Back to the action, play getting very heated, and this is a very, very good job of officiating. The official talking with Mike Clark, the 5'7" freshman from Johnson and Wales, wears 21. And Ian Davis wears number 2, the 6'1" senior guard from Brooklyn, New York, for Albertus Magnus, and telling them to settle down, and we just have a dead ball out of bounds. Thought we might get a technical foul, but I think that was a very good job of officiating.
Yeah, I think these guys are doing a nice job of trying to settle both teams down. Obviously a big, important game, packed house here, emotions running high. Got to settle guys down. Guys got to play. Guys just got to play now.
Here's Davis looking to make a play. Now Victor in the post to the goal. Couldn't get the roll. And the quick hands by Sledge. Wow. What a finish by Sledge. as he converts the steal for an 8-point Albertus Magnus lead. Greenaway to the goal, blocked and knocked out of bounds with 28 seconds of the shot clock.
And that's what makes, Alberta so dangerous here. You get a dunk on one end, you got Big Vic inside on the other end blocking a shot. They've got so many weapons here.
Let's see if the freshman Mike Clark can be that energy guy for Jamie Benton's club. Pulls up in the circle, forced it, and Victor grabs the rebound.
Yeah, not a good shot. Poor time to pull up, especially on Davis. You got Ian Davis a little heated right now. He's a senior. He's a veteran.
Sledge to the goal. Put it up and in. Sledge a 10-point leads Albertus Magnus to a 10-point advantage.
Sledge really getting going now. He's feeling it. I think he got riled up here. Crowd's really into it. Sledge is feeding off it.
24 points for Sledge. Kaiser connects with the dunk on the other end.
Great dunk. Kaiser, 6'2", just dunked it on 6'8", Big Vic. Great athletic play. That's what we talked about. Johnson Wales a little bit undersized, but so athletic. So athletic.
Pushing foul on Mike Clark of Johnson and Wales.
Watch this take by Vic. Turns into two guys there. Great steal by Sledge, and that's fourth dunk of the half already. Less than 5 minutes in for Albertus.
You can't teach tremendous speed and quickness, and Tavon Sledge really has that. Now takes the long triple and hits.
He is absolutely taking this game over right now, feeding off the emotion. He is playing so well right now.
27 points for Tavon Sledge. Greenaway trying to make a play, and he turns it over.
Trying to force the action here. What a job. How about Sledge right now? Grabs the ball, slows him down. Great job by Sledge.
We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. Tavon Sledge, clearly the best player on the floor. To the goal again. And this time, Greenaway with the rebound, and Greenaway tied up for a held ball. Possession arrow to Albertus Magnus. So with 14:31 to play in the game, and a substitution as here comes Robert Lewis, who's done a really good job for Jamie Benton's club. He's back in, replacing Mike Clark. And I think Johnson and Wales will have to ride their starters.
Yeah, at this point they're going to have to. Absolutely. Great move by Davis to get that shot off.
Follows his own missed shot. His runner is good. Ian Davis scores to make it a 13-point lead for Albertus Magnus. Davis with 6 points. Lewis takes it strong to the goal. Nice move, couldn't finish. Here comes Ian Davis. Wide open, missing the jumper is Mark Wilson. And Greenaway will fire it off balance and knock it home.
He's so big and strong. He got hit on that one, still had the strength to get that up to the rim.
Timeout with 13:42 to play in the game. It's Albertus Magnus 67, Johnson Wales of Rhode Island 56. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Albertus Magnus with possession. Had an 11-point lead under 14 minutes to play in the game. Tavon Sledge has just taken this over for Albertus Magnus, a game-high 27 points. Shot clock at 10. Larson to the goal, draws the foul. Very heady play by Larson, felt the contact, leaned in, and drew the foul in the lane. That's the 4th team foul on Johnson and Wales, and the 4th personal foul on Clayton Roker for Johnson and Wales. And Lamar Larson at the line, shoots it at almost 76%. Very heady senior forward, 6'4", 175-pound junior from Waterbury, Connecticut, but cannot convert at the line. But despite the outstanding performance of Tawan Sledge with 27 points, still Johnson and Wales only down by 11, make it 12 as Larson makes the second free throw.
Yeah, they're still hanging around here. I mean, this game is not over by any means, and Johnson and Wales definitely has the firepower to get going and make some shots and get back in this thing here.
I think it's got to be a 2-man game, Corey Greenaway and Tom Garrick.
Absolutely, and here goes Greenaway.
Greenaway to the goal and uses his quickness to score off penetration.
Yeah, he's so hard to guard when he gets going with a full head of steam. He's just big, strong, athletic, really does a good job getting right to the rim.
Larson right back, looking to attack. This Albertus Magnus team does not put the brakes on. They're looking to attack on every possession. Sledge, nice job to dribble out of the double team and drew the foul. Very few players have the quickness to dribble out of that double team, and the foul on Robert Lewis of Johnson and Wales, 2nd personal, 5th on the team. And
yeah, Ted, I agree with you. You're right. You know, Johnson and Wales, they'll trap a lot of guards in our league right in that trap area over half court. A lot of guys can't get out of that like Tavon did. And, you know, he definitely got fouled. I thought they missed the foul before that, but they called the second one. So good job of by him getting out of that trap.
But you talked about the incredible skill and talent that Tawan Sledge has. I mean, he was a big-time Division I recruit at Iowa State, then Iona, and you get a few D1 guys that will transfer down to this level, but not that many.
No, not that many. Oh, and not, you know, to the talent level of Tavon Sledge. He's just, you know, you can see his athleticism here at 5'8", you know, unbelievable at this level.
And the foul on Roker, he has fouled out of the game. Clayton Roker, one of the starters for Johnson and Wales, and that hurts Coach Jamie Benton's club. And Roker leaves with just 2 points. 2 points for Clayton Roker. And Greenaway also in foul difficulty. He has 3, and that's the 6th team foul. And let's see who Coach Benton looks to substitute with.
Yeah, and Jamie Benton's not happy right now, and I get it. We've been in this situation. The fouls right now this half, you know.
6-2. Michael Kaiser wears number 0, will replace Clayton Roker, who has fouled out. And they turn it over. Here comes Robert Lewis. And Lewis turns it over. All alone, Lamar Larson, and he sends it in. Larson, all alone, gives Albertus Magnus a 12-point lead. 3-pointer won't go for Jarrell Lawson, and a foul on the interior. And now Larson down on the floor once again.
Larson again, yeah, got hit in the head earlier, it looked like. Down again, looks like same type of injury. Coach Oliver going to come out now and take care of him, yeah.
Trainer is out as well. I believe he wears contacts. And he's going to have to go to the locker room.
Yeah, usually not good when they take you right back to the locker room there. And Larson, I think, have been playing really well here.
And a bit of an unusual move. The head coach, Mitch Oliver, going to the locker room. Now he's coming back out to be with his team. But as somebody who has called the balance of his college basketball at the Division I level, Adam, it's interesting the myriad of duties all of you have at this level. We saw Coach Oliver up here helping our crew to set up one of the video cameras, and I guess that's part of the duties of being a head coach at the Division III level, right?
Yeah, you really, you kind of do it all at this level. And, you know, we got here earlier this morning. I was talking to Mitch. He had just finished kind of sweeping the floor, like you said, setting up the cameras. And
I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't think fans really realize that at this level with the dramatically reduced staff, and of course not anywhere near the level of funding even at the Division II level, that the head coaches are asked to wear a lot of hats and do a lot of different things, and it really is a very, very involved job to be a head coach of any sport at the Division III level.
It is, yeah, and like you said, Ted, you do wear a lot of hats, and you have a lot of responsibilities, not just your coaching responsibilities. And we talk about, coaching at this level, the big part of it is the recruiting. So it's a lot of stuff you don't even see. Replay here of the Larson dunk just before his injury. Again, another dunk, they call this place Dunk Haven for a reason. They dunk it a lot here, and they get the crowd going. Pretty good finish there by Larson just before he gets hurt.
So the delay now is, again, we see blood on the floor.
Yeah, but now, with the new NCAA injury protocols, they've got to get it cleaned up. They've got the special solution. They've got all the protocol they've got to follow to get the blood off the floor.
$11 minutes, 57 seconds left to play in the game. It's 70-58, Albertus Magnus in front. And Lamar Larson to the locker room, and apparently was inadvertently raked across the face and was cut. And ironically, it'll be Johnson and Wales shooting free throws. He and Kaiser collided on the left block, and Kaiser, normally not a good free throw shooter, having some success today. Has made his first 3 attempts. He'll go again. That one is short, and the rebound is grabbed by Jaquan Walters, a 6'6", 195-pound swingman from University High School, a native of Hartford, Connecticut. Averages better than 4 points and 4 rebounds per game. Victor has the ball and now feeds Walters on the interior. Walters looks to attack the goal. And the deep rebound out to Jarrell Lawson. Lawson has been perhaps Johnson and Wales' best player today. Greenaway to the goal, might have got away with an extra step. Some contact there, and down court, ball out of bounds, turnover, Albertus Magnus.
Yeah, again, a little bit sloppy here. Both teams trying to play fast. Replay here. Walters and Greenway get tangled up a little bit down there at the end.
Jamie Benton not at all happy.
I don't think either coach is happy right now, Ted.
Last possession, he felt an Albertus Magnus foul should have been whistled. 11 minutes to play in an 11-point game. Johnson and Wales trying to fight back.
Yeah, it's good take by Lewis. Again, he's just a big, strong guard. Real good take. And, it's what Johnson and Wales has to do. They got to get to the rim. They got to score some points here from the line maybe. But I'll tell you what, make a couple free throws here. You got a game, just under 11 to go. It's going to be, good game here down the stretch.
The foul on Mark Wilson of Albertus Magnus, second personal. And the fourth on the team, 6 team fouls on Johnson and Wales. And Robert Lewis, a 6'1" junior from Trumbull High School, Trumbull, Connecticut, at the line. Not a great free throw shooter, under 59%. Johnson and Wales as a team better than 72% at the charity stripe. Albertus Magnus, if they have a weakness, is at the line. They shoot it under 69%.
Here comes the pressure again from Johnson and Wales trying to get another turnover.
After the make, it's a 10-point advantage. Albertus Magnus. And they average nearly 95 points a game. Johnson and Wales gives up a shade better than 61 points defensively. So their ability to force turnovers has allowed them to maintain contact, and finishing on the interior is Jaquan Walters.
That, shows the depth of Albertus here. Walters came in when Larson got hurt, and, they don't lose a step. They get a little bit bigger, a little bit longer with Walters in there. So just shows the depth of Albertus here. Whoa, that's got to go the other way. Good
and
call.
A push-off foul on Garrick.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Garrick pushes off, trying to get position off the drive. That's his third personal foul. So both Garrick and Greenaway in foul difficulty, and both of them have not been at their normal level of play.
No, not today. Getting it going in spurts maybe. Garrick hit the back-to-back threes, but not going like they usually do.
A wild shot by Sledge there, and here comes Johnson and Wales, but they turn it over.
Oh, Sledge is going to get another one.
To the goal, and he lays it in. He could have dunked it, but wanted the easier opportunity. He has 29 and the biggest lead of the game, and now Davis steals. To the goal. A 16-point lead for Albertus Magnus, their biggest.
And this is what they do. They just score in bunches. Before you know it, they're going to steal, dunk. This is what they do. And then they force into bad shots.
Here comes Lawson. The rebound. Garrick put it up and in, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, a bunch during the day. You really got to rebound the ball here. If you're Albertus, you got to clean this up. There's an offensive rebound. And they've given up a bunch of offensive rebounds today. They've had a bunch of opportunities, where Johnson and Wales take a quick shot, contested shot, clean it up, go the other way, but they're allowing too many offensive rebounds. That's one of the keys we talked about before this game. Albertus really needs to rebound the ball.
Walters, first personal foul for Albertus Magnus, 5th on the team, but the free throw is no good by Garrick.
Free throw's hurting Johnson and Wales here, a little bit under 10 to go.
Garrick has 11 points in the game, but has struggled from the floor. Out of bounds, an Albertus Magnus turnover.
I'll tell you what,
turnovers have kept this game from getting out of hand.
It has, and you know what, you got to give Johnson and Wales a lot of credit there. They threw it inside to the post. Johnson and Wales actually, triple teamed the post there, and Big Vic had tough time throwing it out, which is what caused the turnover. So you give Johnson and Wales a lot of credit for that turnover there.
Greenaway to Garrick, and he sends it in with authority.
Wow, good finish on the big guy. Great finish there.
And a timeout for Albertus Magnus. We'll take it. 8 minutes, 55 seconds to play in the game. It's Albertus Magnus by 12. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Here in New Haven, Connecticut, on the campus of Albertus Magnus College, the CMM Athletic Center, Albertus Magnus lead, which was 16, now at 12.
And the full court pressure, traveled right there, yes he did. The pressure from Johnson and Wales, they do a really good job with this full court pressure. They got Clark back in there. You put the freshman in a tough game like this, he causes a little chaos,
8:49 of play in the game. Johnson and Wales with some supporters who've made the ride down I-95 from Providence, Rhode Island. Here's Lawson. Did not need a three on that trip, and the run out. And a whistle and a foul. So Julian Sanders got in a little bit too deep on that lay-in, but drew the foul. That's the 8th team foul on Johnson and Wales, and the 4th foul on Corey Greenaway. And that's really been, I think, a subplot here, Adam. Both Greenaway and Garrick in some foul trouble, and their team has somehow managed to maintain a bit of contact with Albertus Magnus, with neither one of them having their best offensive afternoons.
You're right. The foul trouble, with 10 minutes to go in the first half, Greenway had his third foul. So he's done a nice job of staying out of foul trouble till now. But, 4 with 8 to go, he's got to be careful because they're going to need him down the stretch.
Sanders will go again. Better than 63%. Just 1 out of 2. 13-point lead for the homestanding Albertus Magnus Falcons. Garrick strong to the bucket and sends it in again.
Yeah, he's really starting to get going now. Back-to-back dunks here for him. And, Albertus kind of gave up on that possession. Not sure what happened there.
When you're not shooting the ball, try to do other things. Now Larson back in the game, wearing number 30. Got patched up, and he is back in the game. Davis pulls up. Larson with the rebound.
Yeah, Larson's so good at that. Again, older veteran, long, athletic, really knows how to play. Great job on the offensive rebound there.
He's a tough young man for getting cut, losing blood, and going to the locker room, getting worked on, and he's back in the game. And a foul on the interior. It'll go against Mike Clark, who has 3 personal fouls and very limited playing time, the 5'7" freshman from Providence, Rhode Island. Kind of surprised that he is in the game, given the fact that we're in the stretch here, under 8 minutes to go, but it's obvious Coach Benton is looking for some energy out of him, but they also need to be sure that he gets the ball to the 2 guys that need to score, Tom Garrick and Corey Greenaway, and also Jarrell Lawson, who's been the best player for Johnson and Wales today. 1 out of 2 at the line for Sanders, and again they can't stretch the lead. It's at 12, and here comes Greenaway. Lost it, and what a steal there. Quick hands by Tavon Sledge.
Turnovers both ways right now, though, really hurting both teams.
Sledge has been spectacular today. 27 points, steals, defense, leadership. Davis lob pass, Victor, and he sends it in.
Wow.
Now Victor hanging on the rim, and do they call a technical foul? I think they do. No, they call a block.
Wow.
Could have called a technical foul for him.
He hung up
the
there
rim.
for a while if we have a replay here, but wow, great finish though by Big Vic. Great pass, great finish. I mean, the amount of dunks we have seen, this place, I don't know if you can hear it, this place is going nuts. This place is wild right now. Great environment for college basketball right now.
Victor will go to the line.
Yeah, here's the replay.
Converts on the 3.
Wow, not sure where the foul was at all right there. He jumped over the kid's back. That's interesting call. Albertus will take it though and move on.
22 points for Victor, 27 for Sledge. The rejection by Victor and a held ball, possession to Johnson and Wales. So those 2 guys, as we see it again.
Here it is again. I'm not sure what the foul call was there.
Victor went up and hung on the rim, and the contact occurred because he hung on the rim and the defender was trying to get out of the way, but they called the foul on the defender. Here's Greenaway gets held on the interior.
Foul, wow.
Off his penetration. The foul will go against Tavon Sledge. That's his second.
Game definitely starting to get chippy here. Both teams understand under 7 minutes to go with a league championship and an NCAA bid on the line. Definitely getting chippy.
Corey Greenaway shoots it at just under 80%. Free throw good. Last game for him in their semifinal victory over Emmanuel. 12 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist. So he was held under his average by Emmanuel in the last game.
Johnson and Wales with pressure again.
13-point lead, Albertus Magnus, under 7 minutes to play in the contest.
Lewis doing a real good job on Sledge there, guarding the ball, make him hard to do anything.
Davis, and the long 3 in the corner is no good there, and a foul over the back on Lamar Larson.
Yeah, great job by Greenway there, clearing out some space, boxing him out, going to get it. We tell our guys all the time, you'll get that over the back call if you actually, make the effort to box out. If you just jump for the ball, guys can jump over your back, no big deal. But if you're going to make the effort to box out, you'll get a call.
Lamar Larson, 4th personal foul, 7th on the team, and Julian Sanders was open on that last possession from the left corner. I thought he probably should have reversed it because there was still a lot of time on the shot clock.
Yeah, absolutely. This stage of the game, you want to get great shots here.
Now, if Greenaway can connect at the line, he can make it an 11-point deficit for his team with 6:36 to play. And he does. So despite the struggles of both Greenaway and Garrick offensively, there's all-court pressure and another near steal, and it was knocked out of bounds. Last touched by Sledge. Terrific defensive effort by Robert Lewis of Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, this pressure's really wreaking havoc on Albertus right now. Really hurting them.
Garrick for 3. He hits. Garrick hits a 3. And the lead is down to 8 with 6:25 to play in the game.
That's Garrick's 3rd 3 of the half. He's starting to feel it a little bit. We got a game now.
Garrick has 18. Davis drives and scores.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup now. That's twice in a row that Davis has gone by the freshman Clark. Davis does a real good job getting to the rack. They're going to have to figure something out there.
Certainly it appears that Albertus Magnus is going to utilize Davis in that matchup. Garrick trying to use the screen. Shot clock at 15. Challenges the big guy at a foul. He got the block, but the foul on the interior will go against Victor.
Good hard take by Garrick. I watched Vic on the weak side. He lined him up. He knew he was coming.
Second personal foul on Victor. That's the 8th on the team with 5 minutes and 46 seconds remaining in the contest. A 10-point deficit for Johnson and Wales as 2 substitutions set to come in right now. We get a whistle and a timeout. We'll take it. 5:46 remaining in the game. It's Albertus Magnus 83, Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 74. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Five minutes, 46 seconds to play in the contest. Ted Sarandis alongside the coach, Adam Nelson. 83-74, Albertus Magnus leading Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island. And the updated statistics, second half, Albertus Magnus shooting 60%, 15-25. Johnson and Wales at 12-23 for 52. So Garrick makes the second free throw. He has 20 points, and it's an 8-point lead and nearly a turnover Albertus Magnus. What does Albertus Magnus need to do from this point forward offensively? They've
got to get better shots. They've got to get the ball, into Sledge's hand or get back to getting it inside to the big guy. We saw, some quick shots earlier.
Now on
Good
the
take.
interior, couldn't get the roll, but the foul will result in Lamar Larson going to the line.
And that's what they got to do more of. We talk about getting it inside. Yep, getting it inside to Big Vic, but also getting it inside to Lamar Larson because he's tough to guard in there too. You know, Johnson and Wales being a tiny bit undersized, hard to guard two guys in there that are posting up on you.
Foul on Yadia Letellier, the 6'1 junior, 6'4 junior forward from Glen Cove, New York. And head coach Jamie Benton looking to perhaps gamble a little bit here, Adam, as he's inserted little-used Naeem Pomils, a 5'11 junior guard from Bridgeport, Connecticut. He's only played in 19 games, a total of 43 minutes.
Yeah, I think with Roker fouling out and with Clark getting beat a couple times by Davis, I think he's got to try something else, and I would assume we'll see him guarding Davis.
Foul on the interior on Albertus Magnus. And the foul will go against Victor, and that's his third, and the 9th on the team at the 5:07 mark to play in the contest. 10-point advantage, Albertus Magnus.
You know, Johnson and Wales right now doing a terrific job of just attacking the rim. They're making a living from the free throw line right now. You know, we saw earlier, you know, they struggled a little bit in the half court, doing well in transition. But right now, if you can get to the rim and live at the line, go ahead.
Greenaway makes a pair, so Greenaway in the contest has 16. And the all-court pressure, it's an 8-point lead, Albertus Magnus, as Davis drives all the way in and draws the foul in the lane.
Yeah, I think, you know, what's showing right now with Roker out, they're having a tough time guarding Davis. You know, this is the second guy now he's put on him since Roker's fouled out. And, you know, Davis is really kind of doing whatever he wants, going to the basket and making stuff happen. This could be a tough matchup down the stretch here.
The foul is on Pomils, first personal, 10th on the team, and Davis will go to the line. Ian Davis, the 6'1", 165-pound senior from Brooklyn Collegiate High School, Brooklyn, New York, averages 12.3 points per game, 202 assists, just 100 turnovers, so a better than 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Last game, 14 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals in 37 minutes in their victory over St. Joseph's of Maine in the semifinals. And Davis makes the second one good. So Davis in the contest has a total of 11 points, make it 12. And it's a 10-point lead again for Albertus Magnus. Garrick, shot blocked there by Victor. Stays with it. Let's see if they get ball reversal here. Looks like a 1-4 set coming. Yes, Greenaway going to go one-on-one. Now Lewis underneath. Garrick scored in the foul. What a pass by Lewis. Trapped on the left block, found a cutting Garrick to the goal. And I'm impressed with what Garrick is doing, Adam. He knows his outside shot really hasn't been there, but he's worked the interior pretty effectively here in the second half.
It's a great job by Johnson and Wales and Garrick. You know, really not settling for jumpers at this point in the game. Like you said, you know, getting inside a little bit, getting great shots, but really getting to the line. I mean, they've gone to the line a ton here, and that's, you know, what's chipping away and getting them back in this game here.
And now substitutions. Jarrell Lawson needed a rest. He's back in. And the freshman Mike Clark back in as well for Johnson and Wales. Garrick makes a pair, has 23 in the game.
Wow, great job by Sledge getting out of that trap. You know, always tough against a full court pressure to throw it in the corners. You know, great trap airs in the corners. When you got a guy like Sledge who'll just dribble you out of there, makes it a lot easier.
7-point advantage for Albertus Magnus. Sledge attacks and draws a blocking foul. Very, very close that time.
Close one. It looks like Lawson. I'd like to see a replay there. I don't know if his feet were set or not. Sledge hit him pretty hard. That's a tough call. Tough call to make if you're an official, whether it's a block or charge, who knows. But, you know, we'll see a replay. It's, you know, slowed down a little bit here. But when you're watching this thing in real time, tough to make a call. Tough one. You know, from this angle, maybe Lawson's there, maybe he's not. But these guys are so quick and athletic. You know, to make a bang-bang call like that, you got to believe that he got it right.
I thought that maybe he was just a split second slow on his slide. The contact occurred on the corner, and Lawson called for his second personal foul. And a bit of a delay, and the officials call the Johnson and Wales team over to the lane, and we will shoot free throws here. Tavon Sledge at the line. Sledge at just under 76% as a free throw shooter. Misses this one. Sledge in the last game, 21 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal in 34 minutes in their win on Thursday night here against St. Joseph's of Maine in the semifinals. Sledge makes the second one good. He has 28 points to lead all scorers. 8-point advantage for Albertus Magnus as we approach 4 minutes remaining in the basketball game. This is the freshman point guard, Mike Clark. You need him to make the proper decisions with the ball.
You know what, Alberta's showing a little bit of zone here.
Let's see how they recognize it. Lewis, the long jumper, and Victor clears.
You know, probably what Albertus wanted Johnson and Wales to do right there. You know, packed it in, played a little zone. They haven't been shooting it great from the outside. You know, Garrick's made 3 this half. Nobody else really has. Good job by Albertus there, showing zone.
It appeared Johnson and Wales struggled a little bit with recognition when they went zone.
Yep, it did.
Victor with the jump hook. Couldn't get it to drop. The rebound, Larson draws the foul, and Larson's so important to what this Johnson and Wales team does. A athletic 6'4" forward who's a very good offensive rebounder. And the third personal foul assessed to Johnson and Wales, Jarrell Lawson. Double bonus situation for both teams the rest of the way, so both teams will shoot the 2-shot double bonus. And Lamar Larson at the line. Larson, good free throw shooter. 75.8%. Substitution for Johnson and Wales, Yadier Letellier, the 6'4" junior forward from Monroe College in Glen Cove, New York. Energy guy, defender, averages less than 2 points and 2.2 rebounds. He's in the game wearing number 24 for the blue-clad Johnson and Wales Wildcats. Second free throw is good. And Lamar Larson with 13 points for Albertus Magnus. 10-point lead.
Alberta showing zone again.
And the 3 is good by Corey Greenway. So that time they recognized it, and Greenway got a look and buried the 3. Greenway now heating up, has 19. Davis penetrates.
Good look. Great find.
Victor slams it home with authority.
Yeah, and that was a big possession for them with this thing ticking under 3 minutes. Great take, great find.
24 points for Victor on the interior. He's been the best interior player in this league all year, one of the best in the country at this level. Not the shot that Jamie Benton wanted that time.
You know, Alberta stayed zone again. You know, so the last 3 possessions here, Johnson and Wales has shot 3s when they kind of crept back in this thing by getting the ball to the rack a little bit. So they've stopped doing that, and that's hurt them here.
Tough shot there. 2:20 to play in the game. 9-point lead, Albertus Magnus. Sledge. Looking to penetrate. To the goal. Lay it up and in. A big-time take by Tavon Sledge. And a foul.
And that's exactly what you want if you're Albertus. You put the ball in your best player's hand. Shot clock running down a little bit. Great job, you know, getting up to the rim and finishing.
32 points for Tavon Sledge, looking for more.
Yeah.
And it's
great
the last
look
possession.
there. Last possession, Davis to Big Vic. Great look. You know, you watch Sledge here. Sledge is definitely cramping up. You know, 32 minutes. It's hot in here. He's jumping around, definitely cramping up.
So Johnson and Wales averages 78.5 per game. They're at 83 points. But the issue is Albertus Magnus, despite the fact they've turned it over, they average 94.9, and they're about to surpass their average. So even though you force turnovers, they're still closing in on 100 points.
You know, and Ted, that's the amazing thing. You know, watching Albertus play all year and having played them 3 times, you know, there's times, you know, you think you're doing a real good job defensively, and then you look up at the scoreboard, and, you know, 2 minutes ago in this game, they still got 94. I mean, it's amazing. We played down here on Tuesday and thought we did a real nice job in the first half. You know, we played hard. We defended pretty well. We look up, they had 57 at the half. So you never know what you're going to get. I mean, you know, they're just so talented. They're so good offensively.
Some streaks on the line. Albertus Magnus has won 56 consecutive home games, the longest streak in college basketball, Divisions 3, 2, or 1. They are looking for their 4th consecutive GNAC Conference Tournament Championship, and they've got a 25-game win streak going on this season. We see Sledge hunched over.
Yeah, it's probably a pretty good timeout call right there. I mean, they may have had to take him out of the game. I think Coach Oliver definitely wants him shooting this free throw here. He's a tough kid. He's a senior. He doesn't want to come out. But he's definitely cramping up there.
And for Albertus Magnus, the storyline has sustained. We talked at the top about the importance of Devon Sledge and Victor, and those two guys have had monster performances. Make it 33 now for Sledge, and he's going to come out. And Mark Wilson, wearing number 10, will replace him. 33 for Devon Sledge, and Victor in the game has a total of 24. So there you have it.
Alberta's going to stay in zone. I think it's a very good idea.
Three-pointer by Lewis.
And, last 4 possessions they've shot a 3. They're now 1 for 4 from 3, getting away from what they did to really getting them back in this. And now they're starting to get away from them because they're buying into exactly what Albertus wants them to do.
12-point lead for Albertus Magnus. They have possession with under 2 minutes remaining in the basketball game. And a traveling violation on Lamar Larson. Little tension now on the part of the Albertus Magnus players.
Yeah, tough turnover in that situation.
He did move his pivot foot.
Yeah, he did.
Close, but he did. Long 3 is no good.
Again,
you didn't need a 3 there.
5 possessions in a row, 1 for 5, 20% in your last 5 possessions. Not going to help you win a game.
And they have not shot the 3 well all game.
Nope.
Davis pulls up. Perhaps a quick shot.
Yeah,
Here comes Greenaway.
Might want to run a little offense there. That's all right.
Out of bounds. It'll be Johnson and Wales ball, but just a minute and 11 seconds remaining. So it's a 4-possession game now, and a critical juncture here. Just a minute 11 left, and Sledge will come in limping, replacing Wilson. They want Sledge even on one leg to close this game out.
Yeah, if you're Johnson and Wales here, you got to get a great shot.
Lawson will take the 3.
That might not have been it.
That was not the shot they needed either, as they've continued to settle for 3s on the last 6 possessions, and they've only scored on 1 of them.
If you're Albertus here, you got to run offense. You're under a minute. Take your time, run some offense, finish this thing out.
Albertus Magnus closing in on another milestone victory. Davis drives, and a foul. 47.1 seconds left, and a good job of officiating. Now, Jarrell Lawson is jawing with a fan, and the baseline official has just tossed that fan out of the game. So emotions running high with 47.1 seconds left, and barring a miracle, Adam, it'll be the 4th consecutive GNAC Conference Tournament Championship for Johnson and Wales, a 26-game winning streak in the course of the season, and a 57-game overall home court winning streak. Just a remarkable run for this Albertus Magnus College program, and if we can project ahead, barring a miracle rally by Johnson and Wales, what do you expect for Albertus Magnus in terms of seeding in the upcoming NCAA Division III tournament? And we look at the banner. Last year, all they did was get to the NCAA Sweet 16 and win 2 games. And certainly they play like this to be able to score nearly 100 points, even though you struggle with turnovers. I have to think at the Division III level, there are very few teams in the nation that can deal with Victor on the post and deal with Devon Sledge on the perimeter, coupled with the depth and athleticism. It certainly would appear that Albertus Magnus has a legitimate opportunity to win some games in the big tournament.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Ted. Like I said, Sweet 16 team last year. I think they're better this year with the addition of Sledge. Guys are playing at a high level right now. I think, they've got the ability to definitely win some games in this upcoming NCAA tournament. Again, like you said, they're hard to guard. You got to guard them inside. You got to guard them outside. They play so fast. They're going to get close to 100 again tonight. So they're going to make some noise in this upcoming tournament.
What's impressed me is, despite the struggles they had against Johnson and Wales pressure, they still surpassed their scoring average. And Jamie Benton, I know, will watch the video of this game and lament the fact that his 2 shooters Tom Garrick and Corey Greenaway did not shoot the ball well, but they still scored 83 points. And 83 points in college basketball, despite the level, should be enough to win.
Oh, absolutely.
This opposing team, though, is just too explosive.
They are. And again, Johnson and Wales is a team that only allows 61 a game. They've let off 96 so far. So just, a credit to Albertus and, how good they are on the offensive end.
And on the defensive end, the presence of Victor in the lane, his ability to change the game with rebounding and block shots.
Yeah, he does. He really changes the game. You get that big presence inside, changes shots.
30 seconds left in the contest. The runner is up and good by Robert Lewis. He and Jarrell Lawson have played pretty well for Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, I think Johnson and Wales is going to foul him. Surprised.
Garrick, a very hard foul. He was going for the ball.
Yeah.
And Garrick, out of frustration, I think more than anything else, has fouled out of the game. Garrick fouls out of the game with a total of, let's see what Garrick's got for his total. Garrick fouls out a total of 23 points. So Garrick surpassed his average, but he came in shooting at almost 48% and did not come anywhere near that shooting the basketball.
He definitely struggled in the first half. The second half he got going a little bit. He had the back-to-back possessions with 3, then hit another big one here from the left wing. But 23, but not on a great shooting night for him.
Victor goes to the bench. Jaquan, check that chance. Dunbar is in for Albertus Magnus, and making his first appearance, wearing number 50, is big Deshaun Carter, 6'6", 250-pounder from Paul Robeson High School, Brooklyn, New York. Only played in 8 games, 25 minutes. As they look to empty the bench, Med Fofana wears number 4, 5'9", 165-pound freshman from Hudson Catholic, the Bronx, New York. And we'll take a timeout here quickly with 20.9 seconds left in the game. Albertus Magnus 98. Johnson and Wales of Rhode Island 85. You're watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Here at Albertus Magnus, 20.9 seconds left. And the home team closing in on victory. Stay tuned. We'll have head coach Mitch Oliver and perhaps some players as they celebrate what looks to be another GNAC championship. Wilson will just hang on to it. We're under 10 seconds to play. Down to 5.
Gonna let him dribble it out. Great job by Albertus finishing this game out.
This game is over, and Albertus Magnus wins it by a final score of 98-85 over Johnson and Wales for the 4th consecutive year. Albertus Magnus, the champions of the Great Northeast Athletic Conference. And Adam Nelson, interested in your overall assessment.
You know what? I thought it was a really good game. It was a game down to the end. I think the zone by Albertus here really hurt Johnson and Wales and kind of secured the victory with about 5 minutes to go. But I'll tell you what, Johnson and Wales wreaked havoc with some of the pressure, the full court pressure. They caused a ton of turnovers. But I'll tell you what, from a fan's point of view, I think this was an exciting game to watch. I mean, the amount of dunks, obviously Albertus Magnus had a bunch of dunks. The dunk that Garrick had down here on Big Vic was outstanding, as good as you'll see on any level. So I think just a really, really exciting, GNAC championship game, and give Albertus Magnus a lot of credit. They just beat a really, really good team at home.
Final score, Albertus Magnus 98, Johnson and Wales of Providence, Rhode Island, 85. Stay with us as we'll have post-game interviews coming up live from New Haven, Connecticut. You have been watching the GNAC Championship game on D3Hoops.com. Back here, New Haven, Connecticut, the CMM Athletic Center on the campus of Albertus Magnus College. Ted Sarandis alongside Suffolk University head coach Adam Nelson. And the championship game of the Great Northeast Athletic Conference has come to an end. Albertus Magnus wins their fourth consecutive conference tournament with a 98-85 victory over Johnson and Wales to go to 27-1 on the season. They finish unbeaten at 19-0 in the GNAC, 16-0 at home. They got a 26-game overall winning streak on the season, Adam, and they have now won 57 consecutive games overall. Johnson and Wales drops to 22-6 overall, but this game extremely competitive. Albertus Magnus led 46-38 at halftime. Albertus Magnus outscored the visitors 52-47 in the second half. And the leading scorer, I'm sure he'll be voted player of the game, Sledge, 35 points on 13 of 21 from the floor. Victor Lurai, 24 points, 17 rebounds, and 9 blocks. Nearly had a triple-double with a steal. And Ian Davis had 13 points. Lamar Larson with 13 and Julian Sanders with 5. had a total of 98 points for Albertus Magnus. Johnson and Wales led by Tom Garrick with 23 points, but he shot just 8 of 19. Corey Greenaway had 19 points for Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, you know, looking at these stats, Ted, I think the couple numbers that jump out right here, I mean, Big Victor's 9 blocks. I mean, really caused havoc in there. 9 blocks in a game is hard to do. He had 17 rebounds. It was a force inside. And then you look, you know, Sledge had 35. I mean, those are guys that are really hard to guard. Ian Davis with 7 assists. I mean, you know, Albertus is just so deep and so talented. You know, I think that, you know, the one stat on the other side, though, you know, that Albertus, you know, I think has to fix kind of moving forward here. They gave up 18 offensive rebounds to Johnson and Wales. That's something we talked about in the opening, how they got to rebound the ball a little bit.
All right, let's go down to the court. The commissioner of the Great Northeast Athletic Conference, Joe Walsh, as they are awarding the members of the runner-up Johnson and Wales WIldcats individual honors player by player.
Yeah, this looks like this will be the all-tournament team here. You know, Greenway and Garrick, the representatives from Johnson and Wales.
Albertus Magnus College Falcons team on Sledge. And the 2015 Great Northeast Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Most Valuable Player Trophy goes to #1 Victor.
They give it to Victor Luride. He is the 2015 Most Outstanding Player.
It's a pretty good all-tournament team right there.
Luride, 24 points, 17 rebounds, 9 blocks. Certainly you could have given it to Tavon Sledge with 35 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. But in the last game, Victor had another double-double, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 6 blocks, and 4 steals. Sledge had 21 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. I think the thinking was that Big Victor really, in all 3 games, was the best player in the tournament, and you really can't argue with the selections for the all-tournament team.
Yeah, it's a tough choice, but I think they all played great, but really, you know, I think Victor had a phenomenal tournament. Again, missing a triple-double today by 1 block is, you know, pretty amazing feat.
3 players on Albertus Magnus and 2 on Johnson and Wales to the all-tournament team. Luride, Davis, and Sledge all were big today. Davis had 13 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 5 turnovers. And Johnson and Wales defeated Emmanuel on the road to win the GNAC Women's Championship today in Boston by a score of 74-66. So congratulations to the Johnson and Wales women for their victory. As we run through the post-game box score, the 5 starters did the balance of the scoring. Luride, Davis, Sledge, Sanders, and Larson. 4 points off the bench with 3 rebounds for Mark Wilson. 4 points for Jaquan Walters. Johnson and Wales outscored Albertus Magnus 17-8 off the bench, but Albertus Magnus had a 41-34 rebounding advantage, 14 assists, 20 turnovers, 11 blocks, and 9 steals for Albertus Magnus. Points in the paint, Albertus Magnus, Adam, 56-44. They win the points in the paint battle, and that was impressive. Along with the fast break numbers, Albertus Magnus with 18 fast break points to just 8 for Johnson and Wales.
Yeah, like you said, I think the points in the paint were a big number and something we had talked about early on and most of the day. You know, I think the fast break points were big too. And as we said, you know, this is how Albertus plays. They want to play fast. They do a good job of getting out and scoring. And if they don't have something easy in transition, they're going to slow it down enough to get it inside and score inside. So I think pretty good effort here by Albertus today.
For Johnson and Wales, they're led by Tom Garrick with 23 points, but he was just 8 of 19 from the floor, 4 of 6 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line with 5 rebounds, a turnover, 2 steals, 35 minutes. Corey Greenaway in foul trouble for most of the afternoon, 29 minutes 4 of 19 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. He was perfect at the line, 10 out of 10. 8 rebounds, 19 points, 5 assists, 6 turnovers, a block, and a steal. Robert Lewis, 15 points on 6 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 4 from the line with 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers, 3 steals. Gerald Lawson with 12 points and 3 rebounds. Yadia Letellier had 3 points, 2 rebounds in 12 minutes. Frank Robinson, 2 points, a rebound in 11 minutes. Neem Pauls and Mike Clark played off the bench but did not score. Johnson and Wales held to under 38% shooting at 28 of 75. They were 5 of 19 from 3, 24 of 29 from the line. That kept them in it. 12 assists, 15 turnovers, but we talked about points off turnovers. Johnson and Wales was able to force 20 Albertus Magnus turnovers. They scored 22 points, but conversely, Albertus Magnus was able to force 15 Johnson and Wales turnovers, and Albertus Magnus scored 22 points off those miscues, and that's the way the ball game ended. Albertus Magnus 98, Johnson and Wales 85. Albertus Magnus, the 2015 GNAC Championship Tournament winners for the 4th consecutive year. Again, they're 27-1. Johnson and Wales drops to 22-6. And what's next now for Johnson and Wales? Talk about, to our fans who might not be as familiar, that at the Division III level, you have the opportunity to go to an ECAC-sponsored postseason tournament, and explain that dynamic, Adam.
Yeah, the ECAC sponsors championships in different regions for teams that might not make the NCAA tournament. Last year, actually, Johnson and Wales won the ECAC Northeast Championship, so they would be, eligible to make that tournament as well. To be quite honest, Ted, I'm on the selection committee for the ECAC Northeast Championship. As of our last conference call, Johnson and Wales still had not declared for the championship, so I haven't seen the latest list of teams that declared. I hope they have. We have another conference call coming up on Monday, but a team like Johnson and Wales would obviously qualify for the ECAC Northeast. Like I said, they won it last year, so it's a good opportunity for good teams to keep on playing. And in fact, last year's ECAC finals was Johnson and Wales from our league. So I think the GNAC, shows it a pretty strong league. As we look at some replays here from today's game, some pretty impressive dunks both ways.
Very, very impressive for Albertus Magnus, as we have an opportunity to check some highlights out. And this steal by Tavon Sledge, just spectacular.
Yeah, and that's what he does. That's what they do. They feed off that stuff. They're looking to pick you at half court and go dunk it as hard as they can. Earlier this week, Tuesday, we played down here. Sledge had a similar one, picked us at half court and had a 360 that was, one of those dunks that you see on the highlight films. So he's explosive. We
hope to be able to visit with head coach Mitch Oliver of the Albertus Magnus Falcons. Not on the floor now, but we hope we can get somebody to give us a hand to get coach up here. I was very impressed with the floor play. He didn't score a ton of points, but I thought Ian Davis made a lot of good decisions. He had 7 assists. He did have 5 turnovers, but he was dogged on the defensive end, had 3 steals, 2 blocks, 3 rebounds, and doesn't put up the offensive numbers of Sledge or Victor. But I really look at a guy like Davis being a very key component to what Albertus Magnus does.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, he's one of those guys. I think those two sometimes overshadow him, but he moves the ball so well. He passes the ball so well. He can score when needed to be. He's really a complete player.
Very, very impressive here. Again, we see the players celebrating. So just talk about the timeline now for NCAA tournament. Adam, when will the NCAA tournament Division III field be unfolded? And what's interesting is they do assess seeds, but at the Division III level, they do not release the seeding to the public. So just talk about that as we hope to get a member of the Albertus Magnus squad with us.
Yeah, it's different than the NCAA Division I tournament. They don't tell us what seeds are. They'll put teams out in regions. The call will go out Monday, the selection call Monday, I believe, and we discussed it this morning. We believe the first round's game should start Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see where Albertus gets sent. Be interesting to see their first round opponent. And, like we said, they made it to the Sweet 16 last year. And, my opinion is they're better this year. So, it depends on matchups. But I think they can make a pretty good run at this thing.
And the amount of teams in Division III, it's a similar field to the Division I field, is it not?
Yeah, I'm not sure that,
I think it's 64, and actually our producer, Frank Rossi, would know then. 62 it is at the Division III level. And the top teams in Division III, just looking at the teams out west and the like, who would you say the teams to beat are ranked ahead of Albertus Magnus in the national poll?
You know what? I think that, I don't know who, to be honest, I don't know who the teams to beat would be. I've watched Albertus all season. I mean, I think, they can compete with anybody nationally here. I think you look at some New England region teams. I think Babson's going to make it. Babson's ranked number 6 right now in the country. I think Randolph-Macon is our top seed. I think, obviously, they've got a chance to go pretty far in this. But again, just watching Albertus, watching them all year, playing against them 3 times, I think they've got a chance, when they're playing well like they did today, they've got a chance to compete with anybody in the country. Speaking with Coach Oliver a number of times during the season, I think he really believes, too, that, they're not just a Sweet 16 team. They could, in fact, be better.
We see the players going to cut down the nets. We're hoping to get Coach up here. Let's see now if he's going to come up, or is he going to... Looks like now they may stop by to visit us as we try to wave to Coach Oliver. And they are going to pop up and visit us here, so I'm glad we did hang in one last time to visit with Coach. We see Lamar Larson joining us. Let's get both of you in. We're here with head coach Mitch Oliver, and it's Ted Sarandis and Adam Nelson. Coach, congratulations on a terrific victory. Give me your overall thoughts of this one.
Well, first of all, I got to give Johnson and Wales a lot of credit. They're an extremely athletic, and great team, and they played extremely hard. We knew this was going to come down to the very end, and it was a good, clean game against 2 competitive opponents that just play hard all the time.
And give me your thoughts on this team as compared to last team. It looked like last year's club tremendous, getting to the Sweet 16. But as a guy who covers the Division I level, it looks like you've got a real difference maker in Tavon Sledge, who is a big-time former Division I regular rotation player, which you don't see too often at the Division III level. He looks like a difference maker.
Yeah, he's we have 3 difference makers. You have Ian Davis that can play off the dribble. People worry about him. Then they have to worry about Victor LaJudi blocking shots and playing the post. Then you got Julian Sanders and Lamar Larson playing inside. Now we add Tavon Sledge, who's kind of a combination of all that because of his athleticism. So it gives us a different element. So when Ian went out with 2 fouls in the first half, we really didn't take that much of a step back because we were able to slide Tavon over to the 1. And that's a luxury that we have, that we don't really lose our transition game and speed because of those 2 guys.
And let's talk about the big guy who was voted the most outstanding player. Big Victor, I thought, was just a dominant player. And I know at this level you don't see 6'8" guys in the post who have footwork, can move, can offensive rebound. And obviously his ability to block shots at this level, one of the best in the country.
It's probably the biggest difference maker, the shot blocking. Because if we get tied, we have a bad possession defensively, or someone gets beat off the dribble, he's either going to get a block or he's going to change the shot, and that's such a luxury to have. Even when we went zone the last 4 or 5 minutes, he was standing there like a tree, and it's tough. You can't get to the rim on him.
Let's talk about streaks now. You guys have the longest college basketball home winning streak in America at 57. You've won 26 consecutive games.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In the season, and now you've won 4 consecutive league conference tournaments, all very, very hard to do. You guys have really established yourselves as one of the premier Division III programs in the country. Talk about how proud you are about those streaks, which are all very difficult to sustain.
Yeah, we're extremely proud of it, and to be honest with you, you'd be surprised. We don't talk about it too much. It took me a couple years to even realize we had this streak. The other day at senior night, they announced his home record was like 58-1, and I turned around and I said, "You've only lost 1 game in 4 years. That's a great thing." So we're proud of the streak, but I think we've built success on taking it 1 day at a time. And I know every coach says that, but it's really what we do. We prepare for every opponent like it's the best team in the nation, And I'm on these guys constantly about preparation and preparing one game at a time. But we are certainly proud of the streak.
And lastly, let's look ahead now. NCAA tournament.
Right.
Last year you guys had the best run in the history of the program. Postseason, got to the Sweet 16. Do you have any feel as to where you guys would go?
Not really. I mean, you know, you can look at it and try to figure stuff out, but I'd rather just not think about it I may go see a game tomorrow, but I'm not probably going to think about where to go. I don't want to be disappointed or not, you know what I mean? So we're just going to focus on Monday, find out where we're going, and then we're just going to give it our best shot. You know, you got to have a lot of luck involved. You got to be making free throws. You got to stay healthy. We had some guys cramp up at the end, you know, so there's a lot of factors involved. We had a lot of things go away last year to make that run, so we just want to put ourselves in that position, and we had 2 steps. Step 1, win the regular season title, get home court advantage. Step 2 was, you know, obviously get the automatic bid and not have to sit home on Sunday and think, are we going to get in? We took care of that. Step 3 is, hey, we got a good chance as anyone to make a run. Let's have fun and just play as hard as we can.
Congratulations on a terrific performance.
Thank you very
It was
much.
a pleasure to be here and call this game for the second
I
consecutive
appreciate
year.
it. Thanks for the support.
Great to see you. Okay. All right, we say thank you to the coach, and we bring in Lamar Larson. Lamar, let's get some thoughts from you on how this thing went. First and foremost, how do you feel physically because you took a fall?
Oh, I'm pretty banged up. You know, my nose kind of hurt. I was bleeding all over, but I'm pretty good.
And what happened on that play?
I just got a little elbow to the nose, you know, on a rebound on this end. So we both went up. You know, he kind of got me. I got called for the foul, but I mean.
Overall thoughts on the game. Victor was dominant on the interior. Sledge was dominant out on the floor. And you guys scored 98 points. And I thought that Johnson and Wales did a terrific job to force turnovers.
Yeah,
and
they did.
They were very, very competitive. Give me your overall assessment on the game.
I think we did a good job. We could have limited turnovers a little bit, but we played hard. We never quit, never gave up. When we went up 12 and they would come back, you know, cut it down to 6, you know, we said, all right, guys, it's time to work. And that's what we did, and we pushed the lead up.
The ability to score in the lane with Victor and score out on the perimeter with Sledge and all your perimeter guys. You guys are a very, very difficult team to defend against.
Definitely, because if they're shooting, if they're not hitting, then Vic is there. I'm there, you know, rebound the ball. So easy putbacks and stuff like that. But when they're on, they're on.
Tell me about the streaks. Coach says you don't talk about them much, but you've now won 57 games consecutively
games in a row.
at home, a 26-game regular season winning streak, a 4th consecutive GNAC championship. You're a senior.
Yeah,
this has been a tremendous run for you. You've won a conference tournament championship and gone to the NCAA tournament now for 4 straight years. This senior group with you and Victor and Ian Davis, and now Tavon comes in this year. Just talk about the seniors and what you guys have accomplished.
It's a great experience and a great accomplishment because we worked so hard preseason, all the weightlifting, all the running, all the conditioning. So days like this, it pays off, and you see that all the work that we put in, it wasn't for nothing. So it's really good.
NCAA tournament is next now, and my sense is you guys are a veteran group. You won 2 games last year. My sense is you want to go to the NCAA tournament and win more games.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The goal is to make it further than the Sweet 16, but, you know, we got to take it one game at a time. We got to win the first game first and just go from there.
Congratulations on a terrific game, terrific career, and it was a pleasure to be able to call this game for the second consecutive year. Good luck to you. All right, that's Lamar Larson of Albertus Magnus, and I want to bring in Adam for some final thoughts here. We also heard from head coach Mitch Oliver, and very impressed in closing, Adam, with the classiness. We waited, and we got the head coach and the one of their top players, Lamar Larson, up here, and just interested in your overall thoughts.
Yeah, you know, again, great job by Albertus Magnus. And, you know, a lot of credit to Coach Oliver. I mean, you know, you talk about their winning streak and everything they've done here. And you got to give Coach Oliver, you know, all the credit for building this thing. You know, he's done a great job of not just bringing in good players, but he's got quality guys. I mean, you know, you said, you know, Lamar Larson up here, you know, well-spoken. Tavon Sledge, you know, from my interactions with him during this season, has been nothing but a gentleman. He's just got very good guys who want to be here, who want to win games, and he's done an excellent job building this program. So you got to give Coach Oliver all the credit in the world for building this thing.
A pleasure being with you. We had a terrific game this year. Best of luck to you and your program next season back in Boston.
Thank you, Ted.
And we've reached the conclusion of this contest. We say thank you to our statistician, Joshua Cruz, and also a tip of the cap to Athletic Director Jim Abramatus, Associate AD Kristen DeCarly here at Albertus Magnus for all of their help in hosting us. The executive producer, and a terrific job for D3 Hoops is Frank Rossi. So for Adam Nelson, this is Ted Sarandis saying so long from the CMM Athletic Center on the campus of Albertus Magnus here in New Haven, Connecticut. The final score once again, Albertus Magnus wins the GNAC championship for the 4th consecutive year. They defeat Johnson and Wales by a score of 98-85. You've been watching the GNAC championship game on D3Hoops.com. Have a great college basketball day, everybody.